a corner like this in your house, and you take two thin mirrors, and you hang one thin mirror right here, and then another thin mirror right here. Just watch it. Just fuck with people. Do you know what I'm talking about? What happens, right? They're standing at a distance, and they're like, "Fuck, I can't see myself." All right. Just a little glimpse into my brain there. All right. You're fat and you can't see yourself. How do you know you're fat? Okay, anyways. So what we were doing, so we have this variable that we created, which is our counter, var count, right? We set that to 0. Then we have this ask question function. And inside that function, we have a conditional that says if the count is less than 5. Okay? So it's going to run, inquire, ask a series of questions and replies, and store them just inside the answer, just like before, and then get us to our then function. The then function, of course, is going to create our new object. And then it's going to do something like incrementing the count, okay? And what it'll do is it will run this the 5 times, and then it will give us the else statement, and it will pop out of there. Then the last thing we have to do is actually just call our function ask question. Okay, so let's take a look at running this one in the console real quick. Oh, I forgot to put JS. Oh, ran it anyway. I think that has some actual validation on it. What? The song? Of course, Java. $20, $23, I think. All right. Okay. Oh, there's more. All right. All questions were asked. Whew, that's tedious. Takes me back to when I had a data entry job. Yep, I will. Which part of the code specifically were you wanting to see again? So there's your if. And then down below the prompts and the then is your else. See?
So it runs, it counts, and then you call it again.
Yeah. And basically what it's doing is because it's calling itself inside of the function, it doesn't actually have the issue of everything must complete in order for it to go back to the condition again. Right. And so then has to run in order to increment it and to complete the if anyway. So because the if is inside of there, and because yeah, and this is an inherent way of doing these kind of things that exists in almost all programming languages. In fact, some programming languages are built to actually run through operations like this. Yes, question.
Like if you're only calling it once and then it says, all right, that's true.
So what's happening is the way the while loop works is the while goes, while conditions are satisfied. What?
There's a while.
No, no, no. What the last one that we looked at, the one that did do them all at once, was in a while loop. Yeah. So what's happening is the while loop moves very quickly, faster than we can probably even think. And because there's nothing stopping it, once it's added some process to the event loop, it goes right back up and starts again and tries to run through. And it's running through the same thing. So it's executing those prompts almost at the exact same time. Yeah. And that's why you get 5 prompts, 5 prompts, 5 prompts.
So I understand why that happened. I just don't understand why this runs more than once.
Why this loops more than once?
Yeah.
It's because of the counter being set to 0 and then us only executing or only going to else once it's satisfied that it's greater than 5. The stuff above it is just the same stuff from the other functions. So it's just the or the other pieces of code. It's just our constructor and our adding a method to the constructor prototype. It's because
I think the key here is that it calls itself at the bottom of its function, so it's forces itself to have to run through its function before it calls itself again.
right, and the fact that the way the if works versus the while, it's not going to continue on and keep testing if statements. It's only going to conditionalize one thing at a time.
I understand why it would only do 1. I just don't understand why it's actually ending up doing 5. But once the code is slacked out, I'll just share it.
So we'll share the code with you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and share this code. And then let's talk a little bit about some of the downsides of this particular code.
You'll have to say it on there, I guess.
Okay, and this code is being sent out right now, so you guys should be getting it presently. All right. So let's think a little bit further about this code while we're looking at it, and let's ask ourselves, this is working, okay, but is it 100% effective? What would be the downside? What would be the hindrance to using this particular approach?
Don't know how many programmers pass this information.
That could be one downside. What if I wanted to do something with my objects after ask question? I want to go do some more stuff with my objects right here on this new line right here, line 54.
They're not really being saved anywhere?
Right. And they're not available outside the function, right? Yeah, it's all within that function, right? And so what we can do to counteract that is that we can use our other programming skills that we've done, and we can basically push the objects into an array so that we can call them individually at a later time by their index, okay? So it'll be an array of objects when we're done with it, okay? So an array of programmer objects in this case. So let's take a look at that code. So then this would be recursion with an array, okay? Same stuff at the top, except that here under count, we're also initializing a new array, okay? Empty array. We're running the same same set of code, and we're asking the same questions. The difference is in then. And then we have one extra line. In between where we're incrementing the count and creating our new object, we are actually pushing that new guy object that we just created into this new array, this array that we just created as well, okay? And then the other thing that we're doing is, let me set the wrap here. Oy. Hot mic, got a hot mic here. Then what we're doing is we're saying for the variable x equal to 0, x is less than the length of the array, then let's go ahead and run that print info method against each one of those. Okay? and then call the questions to run the code, just like we did before. So let's take a look at how this runs in the command prompt. There'll be some subtle differences. Richard is in his 40s now. Rosie. Rosie's like probably approaching her 40s as well. And Steve, and Jones, and Dead, and your secrets. And what is this? Let's do Snarf, yes.
You haven't used yet.
Snarf, what is your current position? Foil, 375, and Snarf. Snarf. All right, and then it prints out all of our users in this nice little segmented dashed list. Very important that you have the dash list. That's the styling that we actually added into it when we create our print info, and then we're looping through print info multiple times. Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and send out this recursion array JS. And then what?
This recursion array is exactly the same as the previous file. We just setting up the array and the dollars method.
And the way that we're handling the else as well. We're not running the print info inside the then anymore. We're running it inside the else. But that's not like, we didn't do that to make it work. We're just doing that to show it all at the end. Okay, so we're going to slack out that code. Take a look at it for like a minute, and then think of any questions you may have for us, and then hit us with the questions. So just kind of let your brain soak on it a little bit. I heard that, Derek, maybe you know this. I heard the kids are vaping alcohol now. Is that a thing?
I've heard of that, yeah.
Whew.
There's a spot when you walk up 6th Street, I forget which cross street it's on. It's like, you have shots in. Oh,
yeah.
It's alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a legal place where they can do that?
Yeah, it's like 7th and Trinity.
Oh, wow.
There you go, yeah, right around there.
Old school.
Yeah, every time I used to cook on the still, I would just sit there and waft until I was like, yeah, give me a shotgun, Billy. What's that? No, it's like, it just seems kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, what alcohol?
Nobody don't eat that.
Spike's ridiculous.
You can't
You
vomit,
can't
get rid of it.
Yeah, right. Like, you inhale
You can't vomit to get rid of it?
Yeah, like it's not your
Eat
stomach.
more blood.
I don't know about you, but every time I throw up from drinking, it's long after the alcohol has left my system.
You're not trying hard
Get one of those iron stomachs where I want to keep it in. Send it. I'm like, hey, not that way. No, sir. This is a one-way digestive system, not two ways. I'm no earthworm. Wouldn't that be cool if you had a two-way digestive system?
Yeah, I was trying to feed like birds or something.
Even a bird has a one-way digestive system. They're just regurgitating. Yeah. No, like an earthworm literally has a two-way digestive system. Poop can go down here and then come back and be food again. Human centipede. Do I eat the vanilla pudding? Asparagus paste and cuttlefish. Terrible. That's terrible. Okay. So if you guys have questions, you can ask him or ask Holly or ask Rob. Holly is so nice, so friendly. She's never been mean to anybody, ever. She's trying not to pay attention to me. I said that you're sweet and nice, and you've never had somebody that you've been mad at, ever. We say that. Do you remember the old Donald Duck cartoons? In the song, "Who's got the sweetest disposition? One guess, that's who." That's a terrible song. Was Donald Duck swearing when he would go into his thing? I think he was. Because I know that that's been proven. They took a bunch of swearing and reversed it, and that's what Popeye would do. He was actually swearing backwards. Yeah. Why you want to do that, Sean? Why you want to do that, Knob? Did you have a question? Okay. All right. So, despite my love for Animaniacs, let's move on. It's on Hulu or Netflix or one of those two. Like every damn episode of Animaniacs. These kids today, they don't know how good they have it. They wait a whole week for a new Animaniacs episode. Tiny Toons.
I mean, you know, that's Barnacle Man.
They were just in town.
Yeah, they were like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Barnacle Man. I have some nerd friends who like go see MC Chris every time he comes down, and you know.
It's like MC Chris has a new song.
Fet's vet. Fet's vet. That's all he needs. Okay, so moving right along. Since there's no lingering questions, and you guys can continue to ask questions, we're going to go into a pretty long exercise now. We're going to go ahead and slack out the instructions for the team manager.
Jesus.
What's the matter?
That is a long exercise.
It is a long exercise. It's a 60-minute one, okay? You know what? It's going to go 60 minutes, so I'll let you choose your break in that time frame. Just okay, sorry. There will be no breaks tonight. Very papers. What's that guy, the one who plays the Nazi in Inglourious Bastard, the really bad Nazi? What's his name? Yeah. Chris Waltz. Yeah. Man, he's pigeonholed, huh? It's hard to get out of the Nazi role once you're in there. Just ask Dolph Lundgren. Ask Rutger Hauer. Remember Rutger? Yeah, he was basically a Nazi in Django. He was basically a Nazi in that movie. Yeah. Oh, he was a good guy in that? I thought he was a bad guy. Oh, he was a good guy? Oh, that's hard. It's hard to see a Nazi as a good guy. I don't know about you guys. No. That was a very embellished movie. I don't think there's any good Nazis in that movie. Did you guys know that Anne Frank's father applied for asylum to the United States 5 times and got rejected every time? I think they would have, yeah. I think people cared about the Holocaust.
Well, sure, yeah. Okay, yes. Did you say apply to people?
Have you been watching that Iranian public access channel again? This never happened. Jeez. Yeah, the Japanese are like, we need to build our own army to rape our own people.
Right. So, my problem was that they were showing it like, oh, we've been oppressed and, brutalized. And I'm like, whoa, calm it down, Japan.
Yeah.
About the rape was
yeah, or any other place that they went. The Philippines, like, My family lived in, or family I married into that lived in the Philippines. They all had to run in the jungle and like basically hide. Even kids, like they had an order. They said every man, woman, child in Manila is an enemy combatant. Like think of the psychopathic there. Like children are combatants. I don't think so. Would have been a bad place to be. Right under the boot of a fascist Japan. Okay, so we're going to work on this, like I said, for about 60 minutes. Okay, so you're set on this for a good hour. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you have the flexibility, to take your break when you feel like you need a break. And I'm sure that's all ready, but remember, it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You only have one lifeline. But what's funny is like my wife is Filipino and some of her best friends are Japanese, so we've all moved past that, right? I know. Seriously, in actual Asian countries, like there's still some hatred to the Japan. China, they hate them. Yeah, I know.
It goes both ways. Like the Japanese and Koreans really dislike each other. They pretty much say that Koreans are mostly cockroaches, black blood. And that's like their feeling on that. But they won't say it to their face, of course, unless you're super fascist.
Japanese people will rarely say anything to your face. And if they do, they have to do this.
That's weird. That's the Chinese one that's right there.
Yeah, I know. I'm just digging a hole. There's going to be a review trilogy. They're just going to have the greatest clips of Jim's racism and offensiveness. Yeah. They're going to make me hold the little eyes. Not lovely Ludwig. Yep. Clockwork Orange. Lovely, lovely Ludwig.
When I was there, he got us some. Yeah, he looks like a really cool. Yeah, because apparently everyone has to go to like the meetings.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When they reach a certain age, you got it. So it's like a really it looks like a pacifist. It's like
This little red book, little Mao-esque book. They basically abandoned communism.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have
They
to
still
say,
love Mao.
special economic zones. It's basically democracy. I mean, it's basically capitalism.
Yeah, I used to work in the special economic zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's money, like money beyond belief. Did you know the University of Houston has a executive MBA program where you actually go to China for 6 months? Yeah, and you just like work in China, and you, in order to get that any business degree, you have to have a minor in a foreign language automatically at the University of Houston. Oh, they do that at UT as well.
Yeah, we have to have a minor, like a special area of the world, which is Europe, Asia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we like region, yeah.
We chose a region. We have to
Choose language inside that region. That's cool.
Yeah, so I chose Asia.
Well, what is they have a rating scale for how hard a language is to learn. Mandarin's pretty high on there. It's like a 10 or 11.
When I was over there, they told us, like, they showed us the CIA rank.
Yeah, that's what I
And that
mean.
was next to Arabic.
Yeah, Arabic, yeah.
That's the hardest.
Like, only thing harder is like Icelandic or something like that, right? Isn't Icelandic supposed to be even harder than
Icelandic is like, yeah.
like the hardest?
Yeah, but they rank like the ones that are kind of, I guess, more useful.
Mhm. Did you ever see the savant guy who went to Iceland and spent a day learning Icelandic and then went on the news and got interviewed entirely in Icelandic?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's amazing. This dude's brain is amazing.
When I went there, like, I was trying to like learn string games, like,
Yeah.
so you're taking
They're so long.
and they were like, "Don't even try."
Yeah.
Just say it how you think it's supposed to sound. We're gonna have an easier time picking that up.
Spent for like a month and a half, I think, for the text. It would just like get a card and just show it like this address.
Well, they're playing it again. You're just gonna have to deal with it. They got it wrong the first time. What song is it? Is it the Sit some Selena Gomez.
No, I don't. It's 4-4 cracking.
Good for you. Good for you. Oh, oh.
Well, actually, yeah, we need to like have that outside of all single players.
Come on, wheelhouse, man.
Yikes, look at that.
Chance to start out. Any party you want. Or just be where I'll be playing this.
When I left, I
Just
was
for you.
pretty like I could play. Dedicated to a certain. Like really.
Good for you. Good for you. Uh-oh. Let me think. Good for you. Good for you.
What is this heathen music?
So bad into me now. Leaving my dress about on the floor.
I think I've made previews that way.
Yes. You talking about basic or the advanced one? What is the last comment? The chode. Is that what you're talking about? That's funny. I think he did that on purpose. Don't start the chode. Learning to chode.
You have it inside of that. This,
Learning to chode, it tain't easy. But if you do it right, you're going to have a ball. Jim, we need to talk to you about your taint joke. First of all, what exactly is a taint? And why is that dirty?
The other one just subtracted.
It's the worst way I've ever heard described. Thank you for that.
That one's free. Later.
Some of the best things in life are free. Yeah. Well, some of us have jobs around here. It could be worse. You know, I used to teach at General Assembly, and they're in the WeWork thing. Oh my God, they have a party there like every night. It's always some startup thing or whatever, and my students are going out on the break and like being accosted with people going, "So what's your pitch? Tell me about your product." I'm just here to take a class, just here to teach a class, but now I feel like I need to have a product. You're gonna take the dinner. So that's right, dinner. Feel free to work and talk amongst each other. This is one of those things where if you're struggling with it, it's time to go and sit in the vicinity of someone who has less of a struggle. It is.
Yes, but the tires are square.
It's like one of those moments where you're on vacation and you're in a car and you realize that you're sitting next to Aaliyah and things just got worse.
You mean left eye?
Aaliyah too.
Well, Leah was in a plane.
Oh, I thought she was in a
No, left
oh,
eye was in the car.
left eye. Sorry. Live by the sword, you die. Live by the sword, die by the sword. I still remember when Left Eye burned down her boyfriend's house. So cool. I think one of the moments from my childhood was. What about Left Eye made you think she wasn't going to take it to there? That's my question. Was it? Who was it? Was it was an NFL guy, right?
Yeah.
What was his name? Ray? Was it Ray Lewis?
Andre.
Oh, it was Ray something, but maybe I'm wrong. It wasn't that guy who had his girlfriend killed. We don't talk about him. I noticed that they never talk about that guy anymore.
Yeah, Andre Bryson.
She was.
Off by one. Would that be?
Although you didn't catch Randy.
Yeah.
It could be something else, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. The management wants to do it, the octopus is hilarious. It's just like on the same thing, like the same ways it happened during this walk.
Is the honey badger a weasel? It's from the weasel family, right?
Sure, I guess.
Man, everything that's a weasel is just mean as fuck.
Unless they're ferrets. They can't be mean.
They can be mean. Yeah, they pack a punch for their size.
Most of the time they can be.
Have you ever seen the weasel has a dance that it does that actually hypnotizes the rabbit, and the rabbit just sits there until the weasel's right on top of it? Yeah, it's really crazy.
I mean, of all those rodent animals, I like the capybara.
But you know, like a hyena is a giant weasel. Yeah, it's not a dog, it's not a cat, it's a weasel actually. So is a wolverine. Wolverine's just a giant weasel. Yeah, but a hyena as well. It's more closely related to a wolverine. I mean, to a weasel than anything else. What's the thing? The female hyenas have the.
Oh. They're dominant.
There's one male species that never has trouble finding it. Oh, it's right there, plainly just hanging there, dragging in the dirt. Okay, enough of that. Yes. Yes, we're clearing out our bank accounts, and then we're starting a cult in Guyana. Come with me. Do we all get matching what? Nikes, yeah. Cortez.
What was that like?
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, those were sick.
I lived in Utah for a couple years after high school, and I was actually at a ski resort working, and there was a group of Heaven's Gate members there. They were all shaved head and androgynous and everything.
Were they dressed super fly?
No, they just wore very plain clothes. But
They like did the ritualistic suicide for fresh Nikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I'd always had this vision in my head that they always walked around in a sick jumpsuit.
Well, you know, there were a lot of good shoes at the Salvation Army in LA that day. They drink cyanide or something.
It wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Flavor Aid.
I'm just saying.
It was great Flavor Aid.
That guy, the guy who started that cult was actually born in Corpus Christi. No, Heaven's Gate, yeah. It's one of the most famous people from Corpus Christi. Him and Farrah Fawcett and Lou Diamond Phillips. Selena, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but she's a little below Lou Diamond Phillips, you know.
That depends on who you ask.
Lou Diamond Phillips was married to Anne Heche. That's like his most famous thing he's known for. And it was that marriage that she left for Ellen, right? Was that? Yeah, Ellen. So she left her husband for Ellen. You laugh, but I'll probably be Ellen for Halloween. I could pull it off.
That would be great.
I was the ShamWow guy for Halloween one year and just nailed it. Like, killed it. The slap chop? Slap chop. Then he got arrested for the old slap chop. Yeah, I think he did. I'm sure he's hanging out with the Girls Gone Wild guy and Federal Pen.
That's been a great class,
I know. Just trying to desensitize you guys before we get to the chode. All right. Okay, so did they have a time we're supposed to be ending this?
good. I mean, pretty good.
Oh, Vivia, you on my mind, girl, like a drug. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please hold your applause till the end. What's the thing now? Is it this, right? Fingers.
Right? Yeah, that should work.
Hey, do one of you have the basic code open?
Which one?
The team basic. Yeah, this one. So if we go down here when he's validating, and he says if is not a number value equals false. So shouldn't it just be not is not a number, bang is not a number, and okay, because that's I'm just wondering, is there any specific reason why he wrote it out that way? No, he's done the bang not a number before. Yeah, and some of his other code he has, and we've shown that to them already.
Typically would have the equals true or false.
Okay, I just wanted to.
It doesn't.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm not, losing my brain, because I have been. Every time someone tells me a useless random fact, I feel like something important gets squeezed out the other side. Like I've reached that point where my operating RAM is full. Yeah, we'll do that process, but you're forgetting about picking up your kids. You just forgot how to do the pentatonic scale on the electric guitar. All stuff. Just pops up. Yeah. Back in ancient Egypt, many pharaohs went to jail for misappropriation of my Fijian scale. Got to keep them separated. Right? So Offspring, right? They wrote a song. Take them out. Got to keep them separated. So an older punk rock band called Agent Orange has a song called Bloodstains. Bloodstains, speed kills. And so they sued the Offspring for using I think it's a Fijian scale, but yeah. So Then another punk rock band called the Vandals, which if you ever get a chance to see the Vandals live, I highly, highly recommend it because they're amazing live. They wrote a song where they made fun of it. They said, back in ancient Egypt, many pharaohs went to jail for misappropriation of my Fijian scale.
I love it.
Yeah, they're awesome. There's a point where the guy gets out the tiny electric guitar. It's like this electric guitar. It's like shredding on it. Okay, let's take a little pause on what we're working on and let's take a look at what the basic first part of this application, how we would do that, okay? Well, not pausing, but I'm going to go over the first part of how the function or how this application should be set up, or how, not how it should, one way it could, okay? Yes. Okay. Okay, so just like before, we are requiring inquirer first, and then we have our constructor function. Now this constructor function looks a little different, but basically the same things as before is going on. Let me word wrap this. Word wrap. Okay, cool. So for properties, name, position, offense, defense, right? Then what we're saying is we're running that math floor operation to give us either a 1 or a 0, okay? And then what we have is a condition based on that. If it is equal to 0, then we are giving them offense and saying they've gone up, and if not, we are actually subtracting from their, or we're saying defense goes up. And then we have another one where we're subtracting from one of those numbers based on the outcome, either offense or defense, okay? Alrighty. Then what we're doing is we have our print stats method inside of our constructor this time. So there's our print stat function. All right, so now we need to actually build some of these objects, some of these players, right? So to do that, what we have is a couple of arrays that we created, starters and subs, because we have to have starters and subs, 5 starters and 3 subs, I think it was. Okay. And then we have a variable for score that we're also adding. Then what we're doing is we're creating a recursive function that's going to allow us to create those 5 users, okay? First, what we're doing is running the create player function. And what we do is we go into a condition. This is what makes it recursive. If starters.length plus subs.length is less than 8. So that's taking the length of the 2 arrays that we're populating, subs and starters, and it's looking to see that the value of those lengths combined is not greater than 8, right? Okay, and then it's starting to prompt for these properties. Prompt, 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 and we get to offense. And what we see now is the validation that's happening on this particular prompt, okay? So inquirer will allow us to do some simple validation on the user input. And like say, for instance, we have to have a number. So it allows us to see, is it not a number? If that's true, then we can go ahead and take that data. If not, then we're going to return and say that's say something else to the user, prompt them something else. Okay. So in this case, we're saying as long as it's not a not a number, and it is also the value is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 10. Return true, else return false. Okay. So if it returns false, then it's not going to accept the entry that the user had put in, right? Okay, so just some simple validation on a couple of these items. Same kind of thing happens on defense. We're just making sure that we are validating whatever user data has been entered. We get to our then function. Then function takes all the answers that we've given it and runs it into that constructor. So variable player equals new player, and then it's putting in those numbers that we had. Notice that we're integer parsing offense and defense. Okay. Then we need to start popping these guys off into their specific array. So we have a starters and sub array. So if starters length is less than 5, starters.pushPlayer. Okay. Console log has been added. Else subs push player. All right. Okay. Or else it's going to go ahead and print out all those player stats. Okay. So if we go back up, we see that it will run through this the 8 times that we need it to, right? Because of that particular line right there. What's that? You have a question? Come on. That's fine. Did you get to the same place? Perfect. Perfectly fine. What, you want to share what you did differently?
We just had it change, like it kept track of how many subs and how many starters. And once you
Oh, right.
changed the limit, then it changed the.
So you were validating against both arrays lengths. Okay, yeah. This is kind of just an easier, like almost a lazier approach than that. I would say that's even more of it because you're saying, oh, it has to be that these people are subs and these people. This is just looking at the whole thing and saying, I'm going to accept 5 as starters, and then when you enter the next 3, I'm going to make them subs. So it's a little lazier. Yours allows them to select whether they're subs or starters. Cool. Subs or DOMs? All right. No, don't go back there. She likes to tease me. Is it coming? Is it coming? Okay. Last line of the function is to create player, to run the code. Okay? And that's it. All right? But that's not it, because there's a whole second part to this assignment, right? And some of you may already be working on that. That's fine. I just wanted to get us all to this kind of point here. So if you, I highly encourage you to continue to work on what you've already been working on. Don't jump on this code and start working from here. Okay? So don't abandon what you've done. It's good. Keep going. Keep the pace. But what we'll do is we will Slack this out to you guys so that you can use it as reference to what you're already working on. And so then what's next? The next thing is to add the whole play game functionality, right? Where they play 10 rounds of, do I get a point or does my opponent get a point?
So how do you make that way into the person?
Oh, to run the play games? It would have to come after it. Let me send you something. Is my volume on? Yes. Answer yes. So within your recursive function that you have all your adding a new player inside the if, right?
Yeah, I thought it's asking to fill in the players.
No, yeah, what I'm saying is this part right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so inside that else right now, all it's doing is just printing out all the players, right?
Right.
Because that's the final operation of just the first step. This is just to show you that you created them. But if you remove that print, if you remove the where it's saying, here's all the answers, and you said, play game, and you ran that application in the else. Right? So create players will initiate. Okay. Create players is still called like this. Create players is still called like this. But inside your else statement, now you're calling to play the game. So if it's qualified and it's done the 8 players, play the game. And the game probably takes a parameter, and the parameter is what round you're on. And so by default, you would say play game 0, because you're starting with the 0 round. And you're going to keep doing the play game 10 times. Just go. Thank you.
Running takes some down here, and a good measure of running takes some up here, and no point is in the console loads.
Where do you have the console? One thing I noticed, and just change that. That's one thing.
Yeah,
Still should at least be
yeah.
showing you the first one.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you know what? That's
I didn't
completely.
do-
That's.
I didn't do
that's-
that.
Yeah.
Also, like honestly, I don't have enough in here. The function. I just have a function for the game, and then that for that tab loop, or end loop. Like, those are set as variables at the very top.
And let me try this again, and then that doesn't work out. I'll just take it out.
Because you're probably gonna get some scoping issues once you start trying to do like this fair.
Okay, looks like now that's actually working, but the problem is now. Because it asked me what my character name was.
Yeah, mine does that.
But it wasn't working there at the beginning.
I put that whole thing just inside of the function. And then called back.
Let's see, you called it where I currently have it fixed up.
Yeah, I have played games, and then I have all of that within the play game.
Or you have to have like a temporary variable to like set the temporary variable equal to whatever context the index of the first. Now that it's the temporary, and then we'll do that. You take the value and set it to the separate. So now you can do that. And then you can swap the other side.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure that'll work. Okay, sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, just take it.
Yeah.
Not frustrating, it's wild.
Yeah, went pretty good in there.
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, once you took it back out and then takes them up that might work, but I need put the digital one around. That's two arrays. We just push one over here and then push the other one over here. We just need those indexes.
Would that push it to the end though?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. The order in the game doesn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah. It's just the total defense.
Yeah, yeah, some of it actually more cumbersome.
I'm wondering how you can pass that like higher. Let's try this out. How this will have it'll list the actual arrays and you have it list the actual index on them.
Yeah.
Player index.
I think
Would you like to substitute players? Yes. Enter the index of the player you want to substitute.
Yeah,
Enter the
yeah,
index
so
of
just
the
print
player
out your
that you want to
player list.
substitute.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then it's just a matter of pushing.
So if you look at the the Inquirer documentation, there's types of inputs that it allows you to use. One of the types is like a list of choices. And so it's actually choices is the property. So you could use that as well when you're talking about the substitution part.
Yeah,
Right? So look in the documentation and look at choices. Choices and Inquirer. Because you have your list of subs, you've saved that as a separate array, so you could just analyze that array and use that as your choices.
Yeah, who do you want to put in? Who do you want to take out?
Right, and then pop and add based on what they.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to substitute players? We'll have choice. Yes, no, then it'll be figured out. If yes, then it will go to the second.
So do you know how to do the choices?
No. Separator can be added to the
So you just put the array in.
So, yeah, the starter array, dot zero, comma, whatever array, subarray.
So it's an array, right?
Oh, I know Ray Ray.
So, yeah, what we want to do, one piece of the verification, that's looking out, so you like, scroll up and down there. That's what you want to do, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and their list, their name listed up. You select who you want to change. Second question, third question, I guess. Like that person can then. And then
We do the thing.
push them to each other's array.
My wife is having a night from hell with these kids and stuff. Code review.
I don't even know if this is all like gonna work right. I'm trying to figure out the thing.
Oh shit. Okay, so let's take a look at the next step because we're getting close to our time here. Let's take a look at what we would do to add in the gaming function or play game function. Okay, so one of the first things that I did was that I modified my else in my user creation script. Now, the user creation script will still run through 8 times. But what it's also going to do is it's going to have an else that's changed a little bit. So the last code that we saw when we got to the else statement of this recursive function here, it just printed out the stats for all the characters that we created, all the players that we created. This time it's running play game and sending along a argument of 0, meaning the round would be 0. Okay? So then we slide on down and we can see my play game function, all right, which indeed has a parameter spot or an argument spot called x, okay? So first thing we do is we increment x to say, yes?
I had just a real quick question, Jim. Instead of using a parameter, I kind of repeated from earlier, and I made a variable outside of the function called game count.
Sure, yeah.
Same thing, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's just, I think that one of the reasons why sometimes these don't follow the same patterns is to show you that there's multiple ways to do things. Yep, no problem. So a variable function, and it carries with this. So this entire play game function is going to have this value x that we can do stuff with. Okay, so that's part of the benefit of this. And then we can say, if as long as it hasn't played out the 10 rounds, then let's add 1 to it and go ahead and squawk back the round number. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to find the random offense and defense. So they wanted you to find a number between 1 and 100 and compare that, okay? And then we're going to loop through the array and find the total value of the teams, the starters at least, their defensive and offensive values, okay? So for I equal to 0, I less than starter's length, I plus plus, team offense plus and to the starters offense, and team defense to the starter's defense, okay? So we're just looking through all those stats on each object and incrementing our team offense and team defense with each of the starters' offense and defense values. So it's just adding it, basically, right? Okay, does that make sense so far? Yes? Okay, then what we're doing is, it being that it is a round that we're playing, we're going to squawk out the team offense, team defense, the random offense, the random defense. For some reason, they just shorthanded that. This is lowercase, cats and dogs. Then what we're doing is we're running a few conditions against it. So first thing we need to know is that the team offense is, and this is written wrong, what we really need to do is see if the random offense that we generated is less than the total sum of the team offense, which we saved as that team offense variable, okay? Then we're console logging, you scored a point, and adding to the score. Then we're taking a look at the defensive numbers. If the random defense is greater than the team's defense, then we're subtracting from the score, okay? And saying, you got scored upon, which is the way we say it, right? Can't tell you, every basketball game I've ever been to, you got scored upon! No? You guys never heard that? All right, then what we're going to do is we kind of launch another Inquirer window inside here, and we're saying, hey, would you like to make a substitution? Okay? And what we're doing then is we're wrapping the then function, and we're saying, take that answer, and if it equals true, then Inquirer prompt, find out then from the user, so another nested Inquirer function there, inside the then. You were pretty close to this? I heard you guys talking, so I knew you were pretty close. Then what it is saying, okay, so we've nested another question in there. Okay, so you do want to sub out. Who would you like to sub in? And we're setting that choices that I was talking about to you guys, setting the choices to that array subs, okay? So then Inquirer is going to give us the choices that we need that are available in our sub list, okay? Then what it's doing is it's saying, okay, once they've answered that, then let's run this sub in. And what we're doing is we're creating this kind of variable object called sideline, and then a number. And what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and loop through, seeing for variable I equal to 0. If I is less than the sub's length, then increment, okay? And if sub's name equals the one that we're trying to sub in, then we can definitely say it's equal to I, sideline, and set it to the subs, okay? Does that make sense? With the new sub in it. Then when we're saying Inquirer prompt, who would you like to sub out? And again, we're using choices, we're using that starters array. And then what it's doing, they're arrays of objects. If you remember, and you did yours a little differently, we talked about that, but what it's doing is it's saying, go through and start creating these users. As long as the length of both arrays is less than 8, let's continue to do it. But remember what mine's doing. Mine's doing something a little different than yours. It's saying as long as that array starters is less than 5, then add them into that one. If not, then add them into the sub. Nope. You could have an array of objects. You can have an array of mixed variable types. You could have an array with one string, one number, one object, one function. Now, I will say that if you use JSON stringify on an array that contains anything complex like a function, it's going to screw it all up. You're not going to get that function. It's not going to survive, even if you try to parse it back in. Okay? So something to think about. That's one of the limitations of arrays. If we start to use them in more advanced ways and we start stringifying, like one of the hardest things in JavaScript, in my opinion, is cloning an object, like making a true clone of an object. And we'll get into why that is tough much later, but it does present interesting problems. Okay? Any other questions about that? Okay, let's scroll back down to where we are. There's a lot of code on this one. So then if indeed that did work and the name does match up to one of the names in the array, then it's taking that sideline object that we created and it's just adding that into the subs list. So it's putting the player that we subbed out into the subs list and vice versa. Okay? Then what it's saying, and we already talked about this is doing kind of the opposite there for the subbing out. Sub in, sub out. Then what we're doing is inside the earlier then function, or I'm sorry, this then function, then we're running play game. If they don't want to sub, if they answered a no to this question, would you like to make a substitution? Then it's just going to drop down to else and play the game on whatever round it's on. What's up?
Someone said,
Like, right as you said no.
We are going to Slack that afterwards, yeah.
Yes, you want to review it, don't you? And I encourage you guys to. So this else right here has to do with the number of rounds that we're on. So if it has reached the end of the rounds, then what we're doing is we're logging the final score, and we're taking a look at that score, and we're saying that if the score is greater than 0, good game, everyone. Everyone improved, and they're adding a point to everybody's good game. So it's running that good game method by 1 point on every person. So it's increasing everybody's offense and defense, I believe. If not, if the score is actually less than 0, meaning you lost, then it's saying poor performance, everybody decreased, and it's actually decreasing each starter by the bad game method. And if you remember, we did create the bad game and good game methods already, right here. And of course, there has to be an else to say if it was a tie. Lastly, it asks you if you'd like to run again, or like to play again. Okay, and then it's running it again with the value, passing a new value back in of 0. It's important to reset that argument's value back to 0. Okay, outside of all of that is the same create player function. Okay. Yeah, there's some laziness here, right? There's some things that were done out of necessity because maybe what they were trying to do didn't work, you know? Oh, we're not letting you designate when it's a sub, when it's a starter, when we're creating it. Okay, that's kind of lazy, but okay. Now, I have a couple extra things that I'm going to send out. We can work on if you want to stay for another 30 minutes. I'll be here for another 30 minutes. These are just more studying on using these constructors, loops, and input together. I think I saw you reach your saturation point a while ago.
I was close, I didn't include the
In the notes that I only read, the instructor notes, it says that this is one of the easy classes. So.
It's like the concept of, it's not so much just the recursion, it's just this application involves like several other different.
Honestly, I don't ever use recursive functions.
It's not built into JavaScript well.
It's not that it can't do it. It can do it slam dunk wise, but it's not. You don't run into a lot of occurrences where it's necessary.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Like I said, some languages are built from the ground up recursively, and you have to do things that way.
Yeah.
It gets a little clunky in JavaScript.
Yeah.
But there are times where you have to kind of tell JavaScript to, you know, mind its own business and wait, you know. And
So
loops are one of those areas. I've seen weird things where loops will skip a value every once in a while, you know. Just weird stuff like that, you know. And what does that come down to? Probably cycles, and the cycle was missing, and it put something in the event loop, and the cycle skipped, and you lost that particular value, you know. See you later, Cecile. Some hiccup. Act of God. Like in everyone's end user license agreement. We are not responsible for this working ever. Every end user license agreement I've ever read, like actually read, basically says that. Don't expect this to ever do anything for you correctly. Even then, even if you use it entirely correctly, something might happen and it won't work. A meteor might strike a server center or something. Who knows?